Alright, guys, now it's time to talk about the next Child's Play installment, or the next Chucky film, if you will. Which, I don't get. Okay, I kind of get why it's called the Chucky series now, because like half of the series was Child's Play, half of the series was something of Chucky. So, I guess either way, it's just, I don't know. It's kind of a thing I have. Anyway, we're talking about Child's Play 2. Yes, the sequel to the first Child's Play movie that was just an awesome time. It was a great horror film. But Child's Play 2, the plot of this movie is, it's about, like, what would they say, it was about a year later or so, and we meet Andy Barclay, once again, who's played by Alex Vincent in the movie. He's a little bit older, he's been through some shit, and, in the beginning of the movie, they mention how his mom is, like, seeking psychiatric help, so she's not around in this one. And Andy is kind of going through foster care, and he meets like this couple that takes him in, and you know, he starts to get like he's gonna be fucked up in the head, like he's gonna have nightmares about Chucky and shit. And once again, Chucky comes back to life, which how he came back to life exactly, I'm not really sure, but it's not really that important, I guess. But anyways, Chucky ends up trying to track him down and try to terrorize him again, and to transfer his soul out of the doll into Andy, just like he tried to do in the first movie. Now, what I think of Child's Play 2 is I really, really like this one a lot. I think it's one of the sequels that could be on par with the first one. I do. I know a lot of people don't really care for this sequel. I know a lot of people think the sequel's just okay. But to me, this is my favorite of the sequels, by far. Just, having Alex Vincent back in this one, which I talked about in the first one, how he was fine, he didn't bother me that much, but there was a couple spots where he did kind of annoy me in the first one. In this one, there's less of an annoyance factor there. So, Alex Vincent did improve in between movies. He's still a young kid, though, so he's still going to have some trouble with a couple of the scenes and whatnot, but I can't fault him for that. Like I said, the mom's not around, Catherine Hicks, Karen Barclay. She's not in this one. Would have been nice to have her back, to kind of see what would have happened if, she was in there too. And also Detective Norris from the first movie. I really, really would have liked for him to come back. But at least for like one or two scenes, just to, have that connection to the first one other than Andy. But it was fine, I guess. We meet Kyle, who I know sounds like a guy's name, but it's a girl's name. She's some teenager that's living in this foster home with Andy. And at first, she's a typical teenager, like, hey, I don't want to socialize with, like, this 8-year-old kid. I don't really want to do that. That's not my thing. I got a life, I got a job. And she's just, like, I guess you could say she's a normal teenager. But then, throughout the movie, she's kind of like, okay, you're fucking crazy, kid, and you're fucking weird. And how did you manage to tie yourself up like that? And she starts kind of getting a little suspicious. She's like, okay, maybe something really is going on here. And of course, by the end of the movie, when you do have her believing Andy for everything that Andy's telling her, it's a nice connection there. When we finally get to that point, I think it takes a little bit too long, but when we finally do get to that point where she believes Andy, and there's that great kind of chemistry between a teenage girl and this young boy. And it is almost like she is an older sister, actually. Even though she just came in and they just met, eventually she does take up the older sister role. And she does try to protect Annie. And I really, really like that. I do. Brad Dourif, once again, kills it as the voice of Chucky. And there's this one part in particular involving Mrs. Kettlewell. You know what I mean? The teacher at the school, that part is probably the best part in the movie. There's the part where, Andy goes back to the foster home, and, Chucky is going there, and I'm gonna quote the part right here. It goes, all right, sport, we're gonna play a little game of Chucky Says. Chucky Says, move your ass. Snap out of it. You act like you ain't never seen a dead body before. This is when Chucky, he's got a little bit more of smart-ass comments in this one. He's still trying to get the same goal that he had in the first one, but he's more of a smart-ass about it now. And, you know, everyone knows that Chucky he's iconic for being a smartass. But you got to remember, in the earlier ones, he wasn't as much of a smartass. But in 2, this was the one where he started getting a lot more of those smartass comments like that. And, of course, the climax in the Good Guy Factory or whatever, where they make all the Good Guy dolls. That scene was awesome. I absolutely love that climax. I think the climax in the first one was better in the apartment, and they, you know, burn him up and whatnot. I think that climax was better, but this climax was actually pretty still good, and it was still enjoyable. The kills, I think the kills overall are a lot better in this film than they were in the first one. Maybe it's because they have a little bit more money by this point. That'd be my guess anyway. But my guess is they had a little bit more money, so they could do a little bit more. And so, yeah, I think the kills in this movie are better than the kills in the first movie. But that would be one of the things I'd say is better than the first one, aside from Alex Vincent's performance. But yeah, I absolutely love Child's Play 2. It is my favorite of the sequels. It's not exactly as good as the first one, but I think it's pretty damn close. That having been said, I'm going to give Child's Play 2 a B+ also. I gave the first one a B+. I'm giving this one a B+ also. Well, I do think the first one was better with some stuff, but I also think the second one was better with some stuff too. So that's why it's getting the same rating. What do you guys think of Child's Play 2? Comment your thoughts down below. Like the video, share, and subscribe. Just do it!